I'm Kelly Coughlan. I am the Senior Career Manager here at the Office of Career Services within the Costello College of Business. Thanks for joining us. And by my side is Miranda Fulk, and I will let her introduce herself from Northwestern Mutual.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. Miranda Fulk, Northwestern Mutual. I'm managing director there. Love that we are just down the street here in Fairfax near the Andy's Pizza. Love to be able to work with students because I had some great mentors when I was just starting out in college and internships, and know the value of internships and great mentorship. So happy to be part of the group here today.
So how can we prepare for the career fair? Here's what we're going to start talking about: identifying and researching employers. So for example, you don't want to walk up to Deloitte and say, what do you do? What's Deloitte about? You want to have done your homework in advance, know a little bit about the company, map out your networking strategy. And that's really important because there are an overwhelming number of employers who are going to be there. So looking in advance, who's going to be there, who you really want to make sure you talk to. And I would also encourage everybody to really have an open mind. And so, for example, if you are a marketing student, don't just go to the marketing firms because every major employer needs marketing folks. And so, for example, it was last fall, I was, going through the career fair and trying to look at opportunities for students. And I noticed there was a bank next to, it was like Harvest Bread Company or something. And had I, not been interested in banking or working in a bread company, I would have passed them by. But because I was the career counselor, I went up there and they were both looking for marketing people.
Yeah.
And how many marketing students passed them by, not realizing that's what they were recruiting for. So be very generous. Some of the employers actually have on handshake what positions they're recruiting for. But if not, again, just kind of be generous in the number of employers that you approach. Preparing a resume, so you're welcome to pop by with your resume, get a quick review before you show it off to employers. You do want to bring paper copies. There are some employers that will be old school style, collecting it in person, so you can do that. Creating and practicing a personal pitch, we'll go over that in a minute. Developing a list of employers, and a list of questions for the employer, and get organized the night before. So from a first hand perspective, what kind of questions should they look and how will they kind of stand out?
I would say one thing to add to the steps to prepare here is maybe like step 0, or what's your intention of the career fair? So even knowing like what does success look like for me? So let's say you're an underclassman, you're just going to kind of see what it's all about. Maybe you want to get information about internships. Maybe, it's the fall, this is not a focus for you yet, but have some intentionality as to why you're going there. Or, hey, I want to walk out being excited about at least 3 or 4 companies. So that means I need to talk to at least 10 to get 4 that I'm really excited about. Or I want to practice my pitch, or whatever it may be. I think that will really help serve as your North Star of like, hey, this is not me just aimlessly walking around, but I'm walking around with purpose. I have a job to do, so that when you walk out of the career fair, you really feel like you accomplished something.
Perfect. And then I was gonna say too, like what questions do you think
what questions
prepared?
Yeah, I think definitely do your research ahead of time. So say, hey, I know that your company is Deloitte. I've done a little research on you and you have consulting roles and specifically around data analytics. I'm a marketing major. I still just really love your company and your brand, and I'd love to learn more about it. Even if there's not necessarily an opening, doesn't mean that you can't there's always other ways that recruiters are natural connectors. So maybe they can say, hey, this would be a good person for you to meet. If you're interested in marketing, I'm not currently hiring for that role, but that's a good way. Other questions to ask is just, what kind of backgrounds tend to do very well in your company, or any sort of minors in addition to majors that you look that are also helpful for your candidates. Those are all good questions, but definitely lean in knowing that you did a little something, because then people are going to be more willing to offer up. We don't want to do all the work, but if we see that students have done some of the work, then we're going to help you out the rest of the way.
Perfect. Okay, so we talked about identifying and researching employers. So again, you can go to the handshake page and look at the list of all the employers that are gonna be there. Scroll through, focus on, we said like 5 to 15. Research the available positions, especially if they have them listed, their mission and values, what they do, current events that they have going on. We can attend this workshop. Oh, and this is for the resume workshop also too. That would be very helpful. So again, please take advantage of those drop-in hours. Again, I posted them there Monday, Tuesday, 2 to 4. You can also make appointments. We do those in person and virtual. We do drop-ins in person and virtual. And as we say, I would bring about 20 copies of your resume on some nice heavyweight paper. Because as I mentioned earlier, there are gonna be some employers that are old school collecting it, and there's others that'll have the QR code and say.
I will say for the printed one, you know, both is good doing digital as well as printed. And yes, on the heavyweight paper, or if you even had it with like a border or something memorable, because a lot of the time you have to remember, we are gonna be talking to hundreds of people. You guys are gonna be talking to maybe tens of people, but we're talking to hundreds of people. And so I may say to my recruiter when we kind of decompress the next day, oh, who is that girl that had the border around her resume? Do you have that handy? So just another little thing to help you stand out. You know, don't make it too cutesy, but a little something where think of a stack of papers. What's the one thing that's gonna make your piece of paper stick out a little bit?
Okay. Don't do hot pink.
Don't do hot pink, but maybe a different texture, weight, something like that.
There you go, there you go. Okay, personal pitch. This is a big one. So to your point, they are going to be meeting hundreds and hundreds of students. So how can you stand apart? They're not going to remember everybody. So we want to introduce ourselves clearly. We can talk about our concentration, our interests, state what makes you unique or sets you apart from your peers. One thing that I've said, and I use this example a lot, I am a crisis counselor turned construction worker turned career advisor. So how many people are they gonna meet that have that same story? And that is not a long pitch, you know, I can say I have a background in psych, I'm really interested in career advising positions here. I'm actually a crisis counselor turned construction worker turned career counselor. And I would love to talk more with you about this. And then of course, we're gonna always follow up with them afterwards. But then when you do, you can say, hey, I'm the person who was the.
Well, it's also, that intro also makes me immediately say, wow, tell me more about that. Whereas if it's, you know, hey, I'm a junior, you know, a marketing student, and I'm looking for, you know, marketing roles. Okay, well, like, there's not much more I can it's not as interesting. Also, if you're a marketing student, I would expect something a little more marketable. You can also add some appropriate things that you do outside of school that might be memorable as well, because you might not have as much work experience. You can say, hey, you know, I am part of Whitby on campus, or, you know, when I'm not studying, I like to play pickleball with my friends, because maybe the person you're talking to is really into pickleball. Like for me, people wouldn't expect this, but I'm a figure skater and I go to the rink at once a week. So that's something a little different. Again, when I decompress, I might say to my recruiter, oh wait, where is the pickleball player? Where's that person's resume? So think of these things that kind of set you apart. Even something fun, like we're looking for people, not robots. So if you DJ on the side, if you have an appropriate influencer type page or something that is unique, definitely share those things. We're looking to talk to people.
Yeah, and I think there's a way that you can bring it up that is engaging. You know, you wouldn't want to go up and say, hey, we're on counter concentration and figure skater.
Yeah.
Why?
What does that have to do?
Yeah, why did you just bring that up? You know, you can just say, funny side note, I'm actually a figure skater. I actually played cello for 15 years.
Right.
Or especially if you are a veteran or an athlete, you know, those are other kind of unique.
The reason why that's important is not just to make you memorable, but we're looking for people for our companies that are gonna be culture builders and culture keepers. And so we wanna have people work in our firms that are cool's the wrong word, but interesting, right? That you're gonna bring something of like, hey, maybe you're gonna start a pickleball club at the firm, or maybe, there's somebody else that I know that's a figure skater, or like just makes it more interesting because this is why people go to work, it's part of this community.
Right. There's especially too, you're part of a student group, there's somebody who started a women in business student group on campus, that would be something to call out that's unique to you as well. So identify you in terms of the most relatable skills and strengths, invites further conversation. Like Miranda said, how the heck did you get into construction work and why? Or, tell me more about this story. And we don't want to we have 400 other students behind us lined up, so we don't necessarily want to make it a 5-minute pitch or anything like that, 60 seconds or less. And if they want to ask questions, they certainly can, but we want to be mindful of people's time as well. And the important thing is that you don't want that to be the only interaction you ever have with them. You want to make sure that you follow up with folks afterwards. Okay. So this is just a little sample one. Hello, my name is Mary Mason, spring I'll graduate business analytics, interested in the analytics position. Here's my background in SQL and Agile, interested in how to connect. Now, I would add that there's nothing super memorable about this particular pitch, so I might add a little more interesting factoid about yourself.
That's what I was thinking, as well as strong customer service skills. Maybe you have a funny story from that, so I worked in a high pressure environment when I did X, and that's something I'm personally really proud of. Like, I love when people tell me, it's not overly boastful if you do it appropriately, but that would definitely make it more memorable.
Yeah, especially we have a lot of students who have worked in any kind of customer service jobs, like let's say Target. I just met with somebody last week who was a bartender, and you could say, I can actually calm down the rowdiest of people, in my bartender job. So I definitely have customer service skills, and so it's sort of this humorous, but relevant piece. And then we actually have a new AI tool that you can access. You can request access to it through our email if that QR code isn't working. But reach out to us because it's a very cool tool. It's called Costello Career AI. Theo is the AI tool you can use within it, but you can use it for practicing an elevator pitch. You can use it for a resume review. You can help practice interview questions with you. So it is a very slick tool. I wanted you all to be aware of it. It is brand new this fall semester. So definitely take advantage of that. So if you want to just take a couple minutes and write down your own personal pitch, and then if you could post it in the chat, and or if you want to unmute yourself and say it out loud, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that really quick. And I'll go back to this example one while you're doing that, and your goal is to make this relevant to you and more interesting than this example, which I'm going to go rewrite. And while you can certainly use AI tools for ideas, putting in interesting things about you or your concentration or whatever, certainly make it your own.
Yeah, I think when it comes to AI, I just want people to always remember it's a tool, it's not the solution. So use it as a tool, it's the hammer, but it doesn't build the house. So you need to be the one that still puts all the pieces together. Because otherwise it feels a little catfishy.
Right. Miranda, what would be yours? You mentioned the ice skating thing. How did you work that into a personal pitch?
I don't know if that's the one I actually would plead with, but I would say something like, my name is Miranda Fulk. I work in financial services in Fairfax. I'm a native to the area, born and raised in Vienna. And my career, while I'm in financial services now, it's dipped my toe in and out of the industry, and also have experience in electronic warfare, meetings, events, and I studied abroad.
Oh, very cool. Where did you go from?
I studied abroad in Austria.
Oh, wow.
So
good. That's awesome.
How are you? My name is Danny Taufi. I'm currently a master's student studying management and business analytics. I am interning here at the Costello Career Services office. I've been in university since I was 17. I've lived in over 4 countries and I speak 3 languages. I speak Arabic, بتكلم عربي. I speak English, and я говорю по-русски, I speak Russian. Although my Russian is not that great, I only know enough to greet the delivery guy, the Uber Eats guy. My career stems from instructional design mainly. I'm highly interested in L&D and R&D projects.
Yeah, that's like short and sweet.
Yeah, and it makes me wanna say, like, is it important, after you graduate for you to be in a role where you get to use your language skills? You know, so like I'm already thinking, oh, how's this person gonna fit in my organization? What are the things that they're bringing to the table? So that's great, Danny, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else ready to go?
I can go.
Okay, Lynn.
Okay, hi, my name is Lynn. I am a management informations major here and with a marketing minor at George Mason University. I've worked in consulting projects where I've helped local businesses improve their digital strategies, but I've also experienced in project management within my internship last summer at JM Media. It was a global strategy company, and I just created a more best practices, how to rebrand our client in a better way. I am especially interested in roles that combine their technology, business strategies, where I can use a lot of data and innovative thinking to create an impact. Which is why I love project management so much, because there wasn't a lot of just specific structure. It was that I needed to be good at everything, and I love that, so I don't have to like pick something that I need to put my head on. And I'd love to learn more about your team's approach to this transformation and how I might contribute.
Well, yeah, and then I might say something like, you mentioned that you worked with small business. Which small business is it?
So,
Is it a company I would know?
so as of right now, I'm in organization, we're called Mason Consulting Group, it's within George Mason, and we are partnering with FCED, Fairfax City Economic Development, and they've given us 2 small businesses to rebrand their business development, social media strategy, and also a market analysis for both of them. One of them is BE2 Pilates, and the other one is Make My Days.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Did you try out the Pilates class? So
We're actually doing it this Saturday.
Gotta be immersed as like
Yeah.
the client experience, and that's cool too. The
For
economic
sure.
development office happens to be in the same building as me.
Oh, yeah. No way, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
That's awesome. Little plaza, eat place.
So,
Yeah, so because you gave all those details, there's some meat that I could dig
Love
in,
that.
ask a couple of questions.
I like what you said too, like the recruiter is also supposed to be the relationship
Yeah.
builder, so you shouldn't, give this pitch to a recruiter and then be met with this like stone face.
Yeah.
Response if they're good at their job. So, anyone else wanna give it a whirl? Oh, Jonathan. That's so funny, Jonathan, you're who I was referencing when I was talking about the bartender. I'm Jonathan Rodriguez, I'm a bartender program assistant with an active security clearance, graduated 2 years ago with a supply chain management degree, and I'm looking to get my foot in the door. Specialize in customer service and team building in my free time, love to play basketball, even though I'm 5'5", because I love the challenge and the feeling of the team coming together. Oh, I love that.
I love that, it feels, you're such a person. Like there's so much to dig in there, I could say, oh, that's so great that you love to play basketball, we just recently started a, basketball, like kind of after hours team, and I'm sure you've got so many great stories of being a bartender, you're probably really great at connecting with people that you don't even know that well, and I'm sure you get some interesting stories.
Right.
But also having to have some discretion with your clearance. So,
Right.
cool.
Oh, nice work, you guys. All right, I don't see anybody else with their hand up, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. So we are here, develop a list of questions for them. Could you describe a typical day? What do you think is the greatest opportunity? Traits and skills of the people who are successful. This is very similar to what you would ask at the end of an interview to show that you were engaged and you want to learn more about them. What changes do you anticipate our new employees assigned mentors? Can I contact you with any follow-up questions? That's probably gonna be the most important question you ask, period. Because again, they're gonna meet hundreds and hundreds of people. And so you want to make sure you are the squeaky wheel who follows up. And a quick story, I will tell you, when meeting with employers in the last couple of weeks, they have said that more and more people are making it through their applicant tracking systems because of AI tools, which makes it harder for them to select candidates. So what they're relying on is people who are either interns there already or people they have met at events that they're hosting and they followed up afterwards. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, I think the follow-up, if someone follows up with me after the fact, you automatically get a check plus.
No.
So.
Yeah.
Because it just shows that you're making an effort. You want me to make an effort, I need you to show me that, hey, I'm really interested, and maybe even in your follow-up. Put a little something, hey, I was the one with, you know, the red bow in my hair, or I really enjoyed talking about that community impact initiative that you are doing at your company. I would love to know more. When's a good time for us to connect, or something like that. Make it a thing that carries on to another conversation.
Right,
And make it not just, hey, it was great meeting you at the career fair. Cool, I met lots of people at the career fair, so make it memorable.
yeah, that's certainly where you can reference your personal pitch that you gave. And if there was anything that you had as part of that follow-up conversation, and then, yes, that call to action where there's a prompt there that kind of forces them to sort of respond one way or the other. Do you have 15 minutes in the next 2 weeks? I'd love to chat. Here's my schedule. What works best for you?
And when you're going to visit all the different people, if you don't wanna be, you know, don't be out on your phone, cause it's just distracting, but you can write the person's name down and just make a list of everybody that you wanna connect with on LinkedIn afterwards. That's a good way, just, you know, everyone's gonna have a name tag, you know what company they're at. Everybody that's at the career fair, I would think on the recruiter side is gonna have a LinkedIn page at a minimum. So that's a great way to follow up as well.
Okay, again, we went over this a little bit earlier, but what do you not ask? What does your company do? Do you have any openings? How much do you pay, right? We want to prove to them we've done our homework, that we're so interested in working for them, that we have taken the time to do that research. We should know what openings they have coming up, and if not, they usually have them posted in placards, so you don't wanna walk up to them and ignore the sign that says we're looking for business analysts and say, oh, do you have any openings? Like, yeah. That sign right in front of you, so you wanna stand apart, but in a positive way, and of course, we don't wanna talk about pay right off the bat, because then they interpret your intention.
And also, pay, it really depends on experience, depends on the role. Like, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot with that, and what I don't like about these questions is that they're just kind of yes, no. Cause do you have any openings? Yes.
Right.
You can say which ones, instead of saying, hey, I looked online, I really admire the work that your company's doing, I'd love to partner with your brand, and I see that you have some openings in AI. But you don't have anything in with my specific background. Do you know if anything may be coming available, or is a new hiring cycle coming up? Or is there a good person for me to connect with at the firm? That's a better thing than, hey, do you have any marketing openings?
Okay, we wanna be organized, have professional attire, comfortable dress shoes, a nice portfolio notebook. You can avoid the backpack, that'd be great. Have a pen, something to write something down. Don't make the mistake I had where I went to a networking event and did not bring a pen, and what I found in my purse was a crayon. Because I have children, and so I literally wrote my name in crayon on the back of a business card to Deloitte. And that was certainly memorable, but not in the professional sense, so do as I say, not as I do. We talked about bringing at least 40 copies of your resume, printed on really nice paper. Veracements would be especially lovely. They used to hand them out they used to have them in baskets outside, but the last time they were either out or didn't have them, but that is really great because it is going to be so loud in that room, and you are gonna have to lean in and talk to that person. And if you reek like coffee or, you know, garlic hummus or whatever it is that you just ate, you'll be memorable, but not in a positive way. So we definitely want to bring some Altoids or breath mints. And then if you have business cards, contact cards, all the better.
Yeah, you just wanna be able to move easily. So even if you're in a suit and professional, like stretch it out a little bit, try it on. You wanna feel comfortable in what you're wearing so that your comfortable self comes out. I'm using the term comfortable, maybe wrong here, but you just wanna be your best version of yourself and feel very crisp. You don't wanna be digging around for things in a bag, you wanna just be very efficient and crisp and sharp. And it's gonna make you stand up taller, feel good. Also, I know everyone's palms get sweaty because you're nervous and all that, but do a little hand sanitizer, like, don't, when someone like, you know, just normal hygiene.
Yeah, you don't wanna be the clammy hand,
Yeah.
person, yeah. Little pocket hand sanitizer would really help. Networking, take an active approach, practice your pitch, smile. We talk about this with interview prep as well, just like smiling and being friendly takes you such a far way, even if you bumble your words or whatever, just if you are somebody who seems approachable. We talk about a confident handshake. In fact, when I taught classes for veterans who were getting out of the military, I used to make them line up and shake their hands one, and then I would kind of critique their handshake. Professional appearance, Miranda talked about, I have seen people show up in crop tops, employers do not wanna see your belly button. That's just kind of the rule of thumb, so we wanna make sure that we are dressed professionally, we wanna avoid topics of politics, all that kind of thing. The jokes, I mean, I don't know, you can have a sense of humor, and I would appreciate somebody who, like we talked about earlier, when you had something unique to yourself, to present it in a joking fashion, but but I wouldn't like have a lineup routine all scheduled. Keep the conversation flowing, find commonalities, exit the conversation when you've made a strong enough connection, and keep in mind you got a bunch of people behind you as well. And then we talk about the importance of the follow-up.
And I would also just think about when you walk into that room, even before you're at an employer's table, we're watching you. So a lot of time, there might be somebody I'm watching like, oh, I really like how that person carries themselves, and I may also be thinking the other way, oh, I hope that person isn't coming to my table because of how they're carrying themselves, so just, yeah, you're gonna be a little confused trying to find the right table and stuff. But if there's a long line at one table, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the best table. Make good use of your time, smile, be happy, good eye contact, go up to people and say, hey, I'd love to learn more about your company. I did a little research, da, da, da.
Yeah, and also too, one thing I would add, do not approach in a group. Don't have your comfortable clique of friends that you're all just going from table to table, because as we used to talk about when you were presenting in an interview and you introduce yourself and say, here's what I did or we did as a team, and I'm not hiring we, I'm looking to hire you. And so you want to make an impression individually, not collectively.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen that as well. So as I just said, this is a solo event, avoid walking. It's okay to go with your friends, but don't approach the table as a group, go off in your own directions, make your own impression.
Well, and also think about is the crew that you're walking with, even if you're not coming up, remember, we're watching you kind of walk around. Is your group elevating you or doing the opposite? Because you may be ready to go and then your friend is just like, oh yeah, I'll go with you. I wasn't planning on going anyways, and they're just kind of bumming around with you. I'm already thinking, oh, well, is this the group that you hang out with? Not to sound overly critical over your friend group, but this is a specific event with a specific purpose. And so we're looking for people that want to be there, are sharp and want to make connections.
As we mentioned before, have a list in advance of who you want to be networking with. Use the list to make sure that you have met with each one. Start your conversations with your personal pitch and the research that you've done. Arrive early, leave yourself enough time. And also too, to Miranda's earlier point, if you want to go talk to KPMG and they are 35 people deep, you're going to spend your entire career fair standing in that line, and you're really going to miss a lot of great opportunities to talk to some other great employers. So circle around. You see a super long line at one employer, go to a different table, make the most of your time. The employers there are all interested in hiring students, so they might as well meet you.
And it's a good way to practice your elevator pitch. So if you really want it crisp and perfect for KPMG, try it out on a couple other people, do a couple swings. Also for the fair hours, it does go all the way till 4 o'clock, but just know it's a long career fair for recruiters, and you're gonna get the more patient recruiter, the more talkative recruiter at the beginning versus the end, and usually, that last 45 minutes, people are either starting to pack up, kind of itching to get out. And we also think, well, why are you coming at the very end of the career fair if you've had the whole time? So make good use of your time. You want to be your fresh self, you want to get the recruiter's fresh self as well.
And if you haven't been before, they usually do pass out a map as you walk in the door, so you should take a minute to figure out where everybody's located that you want to meet with. We talk about this already, make a good first impression, smile, firm handshake, personal pitch, initiate conversations, being professional. Don't leave without the contact info, so if you can get their business card or at least put their LinkedIn information in your phone, you'll be set there. How to follow up, we want to come up with a plan. You need to submit your resume via online or email. Some of them, as I mentioned earlier, will have a QR code right at the table that you can scan to apply for jobs. You don't have to do it right then and there. You can scan the code that pops up, move on to the next table, and then when you're done following up, go ahead and submit that information. You can look on Handshake to see if there's going to be on campus again or hosting any other events. Should we call or email that recruiter or contact them on LinkedIn? Do they ask for any references? Send a follow-up email to those who you're interested in. As I mentioned, that squeaky wheel is going to make all the difference, which Miranda backed me up on that. And as we said, provide your resume as well as any information or any tie-in things that you connected on it.
I was just gonna say, I love that you have after the fair. So I used to do meetings and events, and I would always tell people, you can't judge if an event is successful based off the event. Everything that happens before and everything that happens after is really what matters. So are you walking in prepared, and afterwards, do you have a debrief, a follow-up plan after the fact? Because it's great that you went to the career fair, but that is just one piece. You have to finish the thought and do the follow-up. You did all of this awesome work and spent the time, you need to really put a bow on it.
I like the analogy too of the hammer with the nail, right? Like you got the hammer, let's say the employer's the nail, but if you just do nothing with it, they just sit there, they don't build the house
Right,
themselves.
exactly.
You need to connect the two.
I'm gonna steal it.
So this is the way you can organize your information afterwards. My coworker has this lovely spreadsheet that she loves to put together when she's job searching. Previously, the employer, who is the recruiter, the contact information, where did you meet them? What did you do for follow-up? Any notes? This is the person I talked about basketball with, right? Or having those notes to yourself that you can reference afterwards. And I've done it where right on that map, after I met with that employer, I just scribbled some notes right after their name so I could just keep on moving. And then, as I mentioned, here are our walk-in hours. You are welcome to pop in for assistance. Feel free, again, this can be in person or virtually. If you go to our website, there's a link right there through Patriot Connect, how you can do virtual drop-ins with us. Otherwise, you're welcome to reach out to us old school style. And then here are a couple of QR codes, and why would you want to follow us on these? Well, on LinkedIn, we often post jobs that are not on Handshake. So that would be a great opportunity to join us there. But I would have Lynn talk about Instagram, which would be another personal pitch of hers, because she could say, previous to my arrival, they didn't even have Instagram, let alone any followers or likes on anything that was being posted. But after Lynn, so you could just talk a little bit about our Instagram page.
Sure, yes. Before I came into our office, we had just started our social media, especially Instagram wise. And I made it sort of more student wise. I started messing around with the reels, kind of doing more student engagement. And now we're very, very close to 1,000 followers. So I'm
Awesome.
really happy about that. But Instagram wise, we do post a lot of our workshops, a lot of upcoming events within the school, with organizations, clubs, and employers that we have connections with. So LinkedIn and Instagram wise is honestly the best place that you can find all of our events and our recruiter events, just because we're more personal with students on there. Quicker, easier way. You can go on your phone. It's very nice. So I highly, highly recommend you guys all check it out.
Yeah, we often highlight students on there
Yes,
as well.
that too.
So
We love spotlighting students.
Yep.
Yep.
So thanks for attending.